Here are the 10 coaches under the most pressure for the 2025 college football season. Please note, this is not a hot seat list at all. In fact, most of these guys I don't think are in danger of losing their jobs. But in terms of pressure and competitive pressure, I think these guys face the most. Ryan Day is on here even after winning a national title, and that's because he needs to beat Michigan this year. If they go 9-3 but they beat Michigan this year, I think he relieves some pressure from his job. It's just a situation that can only arise in college football. Brian Kelly certainly has a lot of pressure this season. I've heard some people throw around the term make or break. I don't think it's quite that bad, but definitely this feels like a year where they pursued aggressively. It's year 2 Blake Baker's the defensive coordinator. They need to see improvement, and they need to see at least a better push for a playoff spot this year. Brent Venables is the first coach in this list where you could say, yeah, there's some job security pressure in there as well. I feel like he's not as high on this list just because Oklahoma's bar for success this year is probably a little lower. Like if they look really good and go 7-5 versus that brutal schedule, it could be like Billy Napier last year where he relieved some of that pressure and then it just feels like you're setting up for a solid 2026. Lincoln Riley has a tremendous amount of pressure to continue the defensive improvement and have a bounce-back season for the offense this year. Last season, they lost so many close games, and their record has regressed each season he's been at USC, so they need to see improvement. Otherwise, the actual job pressure could actually start to mount up, and we could be having serious hot seat discussions about Lincoln Riley. Luke Fickle was one of the hottest hires in college football Wisconsin, and they have severely regressed as a program. This is a big year for them, and they have an extremely difficult schedule. The pressure that is on Fickle this year to churn a positive result is pretty ridiculous. Napier has had the pressure ease up a little bit with the strong finish to last season, but again, an extremely difficult schedule and a lot of places where things can go wrong. It just could quickly slip into a really bad spot for Napier. They just need to perform and perform to the best of their abilities all year long. Through 3 seasons as the head coach of Virginia Tech, Brent Pry has improved things slowly, but it seems like every time he's had an opportunity for a signature moment, it's fallen flat. And you get the sense that the fan base is getting a little uneasy. They regressed record-wise last year. They need to do something to give people faith about him going forward. There's virtually zero scenario where Franklin gets fired this year or even the next 3 seasons, but the pressure we're talking about at James Franklin is winning those big games. And the reason it's so high for him this year is because of how advantageous their schedule is and because of all of the returning players they have and the splash hire of Jim Knowles. There was a ton riding on this season for James Franklin, and there's a ton of pressure on him to perform in those big games. Mike Norvell has a ton of pressure fresh off a 2-10 season. If that happens again, he's fired. This year, I think more than just like getting back to a bowl game, they need to show that they're like 1 year away from getting back into the national picture. I don't think there's any head coach in college football under more pressure than Hugh Freeze this season. It has not been good enough through 2 seasons at Auburn. They've had a ton of excuses about how young they are, all this stuff. They need results. They need results on the field. They are out of excuses this year. If he doesn't perform, he will be fired.